You don't have to like Abby. That's not what this is about. And you don't have to agree with everything The Last of Us Part 2 tries to say. But if you want to understand what the game is actually doing, whether or not it succeeds, we need to sit with Abby not as a narrative device, not as a foil or a symbol, but as someone whose story runs parallel to Joel's. Sometimes in step, sometimes as a correction. Because the more we think about this game, the more it feels like Abby isn't just a counterpoint to Joel. She's a version of him with a space to change. What he might have become if his story hadn't ended when it did. Maybe that's why her arc is so uncomfortable. Not because it invalidates Joel's, but because it shows how much more he had left unresolved. He didn't die in a blaze of redemption. He died with a complicated legacy. A legacy Abby is forced to live inside of. And her story, more than being about revenge, about what comes next. About what it means to carry the consequences and still try to be more than what broke you. Joel's whole journey is wrapped in trauma. He starts as someone gutted by the loss of his daughter, but the next 2 decades turn that wound into something calloused and unrecognizable. He becomes a functional, brutal, emotionally locked down person. Survival becomes a routine and morality a liability. Then comes Ellie, and slowly something shifts. He starts to feel again, not in a dramatic, teary-eyed way, but in small, hard-earned moments. The cracks show, and when the Fireflies threatened to take Ellie from him, he makes a choice. Not a noble one, not villainous either, just a deeply, deeply human one. He saves her. He kills for her. He lies to her. He just can't let her go. His story ends not with a resolution, but with tension. His lie hangs in the air, and the sense is that his path to redemption is only just beginning. We don't get to follow it. Part 2, however, picks up with Joel trying. He shows up more, he stumbles over apologies he he can't quite say, and then he's gone. Not as punishment, but as fallout. The past doesn't stay buried. The people here remember, and the world catches up eventually. And so, his arc ends, but his work doesn't, and Abby's story picks it up piece by piece. It starts where Joel's left off, consumed by vengeance. Her father dies because of Joel, and that loss defines her. She trains, isolates herself, becomes someone who didn't survive long enough to make him pay. But here's the thing. Once she does it, once Joel is dead, nothing changes. No relief, no healing. Just an empty space where the grief used to sit. The game doesn't moralize this, it just shows it, but it costs. And then it does something unexpected. It gives her a second story, through Lev and Yara. Abby starts to reorient. She lets someone in. She chooses to protect without revenge attached to it. She starts caring again, not out of guilt, not to balance the scales, but because she wants to. It's not a redemption arc either. It's quieter than that, and it's someone learning how to stop surviving and start living again. That's what makes her so important, not because she balances the moral math, but because she breaks the cycle. That said, The Last of Us Part 2 is all about cycles. Violence repeats, trauma echoes, characters mirror each other. Joel saves Ellie, Abby loses her father. Ellie loses Joel, Abby finds Lev. Ellie kills Abby's friends, Abby spares Ellie. Ellie comes back for revenge anyway, she loses Dina. She loses the Springers. She loses what little of Joel she had left. This isn't a story that rewards violence, it just catalogs the damage. It asks what's left when the anger runs out, what you're holding when the person you're avenging is gone. And again, that's why Abby matters. Because when given the chance to keep going, to finish the fight, she stops and she walks away. Not because she's unforgiven. Not because she's forgiven. Not because it feels good. But because she sees what it's doing to her and to Lev. Ellie, however, is stuck in the in-between. She is Joel's legacy, but also his reckoning. And for most of the game, she can't let go. She can't forgive Abby. She can't forgive Joel. She can't even forgive herself for surviving. So she spirals, and like Joel before her, she makes decisions that cost her everything, not in one moment, but over time. She burns through people, through homes, through the life she could have had with Dina. And finally, standing on that beach, she realizes that doing all of this won't bring Joel back, that she's not healing, she's repeating. And so she lets Abby go. And when she comes home, Regina is gone. The guitar is unplayable. She has nothing left to anchor her to who she used to be. but there's this quiet sense that she might find something because she stopped. Finally, Abby isn't here to replace Joel. She's here to reflect him back to us, to show what could have happened when someone like Joel is given a second chance and chooses growth over grief. She takes everything that hardened Joel and tries to do something else with it. She doesn't get it right all the time. She's not a symbol of perfect redemption, but she tries over and over. She tries, and that's what makes her arc so compelling. Not that she wins or redeems herself, but that she stops the damage, that she sees the pattern and steps outside of it. And in doing that, she honors the story Joel never got to finish. She doesn't diminish Joel. She completes his shadow. She doesn't undo his choices. She lives in the aftermath. And through her, we see how love can bend into revenge, how grief can take over a life, and how hard it is to step away from that edge. If Joel was a spark, Abby's the smoke we're left breathing. So maybe you still don't like Abby? That's okay. But maybe now we see why she matters. Because she carries the story forward, because she took the weight Joel left behind and decided to live with it instead of passing it on. And maybe in the end, that's the only kind of peace this world allows.